Yeah. Where is our? Oh, over here.
Round and round.
We're over here.
There's two.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment? Seeing none, hear none. We'll move on to approval of minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes. I'll second.
Anyone see anything? Okay. All in favor to approve the minutes for August 13th?
Aye.
Opposed? One abstain.
Got it.
Move on to Dan McGee's updates.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? All things are good across the way. The construction project's going amazingly. The teams are really doing well to, I think, keep up with schedule and hopefully capture schedule. I sent in a report to you guys. Not, again, we've kind of uncovered all the sins under the ground, and now we're above, and it's where we've kind of removed some of the risk. And Darren Stoker, if you remember from the Jackson crew, wanted to come up so that when we go for a walk, we can kind of talk if you guys have any specific questions on what they've been running into. As we start coming out of the ground, that's when a lot of that coordination stuff will start happening. So there'll be probably a lot more detail to provide to you. But right now, the biggest thing I wanted to let you guys know, you had 2 students that worked with Jackson this summer that received very high regards. And I can't compliment the staff for recommending these kids. They really stepped up, and not only the Jackson crew, but the subs that they interacted with had nothing but positive things to say. So I'd love to be able to pass that on to those 2 young people to make sure that they are recognized. It's Levi and Quincy. I don't have last names. You remember?
Or nail a little better tonight, but I think it's Quincy Jones and then Levi is
Conover.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, that's something, and we were out doing a walk and watched, it was Levi that was working, and he was driving a water truck. He was water truck doing compaction with, a remote. I mean, just really fabulous stuff. And I think that he's already showed interest in, hey, I want to come back as soon as I can and be part of that.
Levi is actually gonna extend his stay with us a little bit. But he's got a fairly flexible schedule in the afternoon throughout his senior year, so he's still been kind of working with us in the afternoons, picking up some hours, which has been great. His work ethic is just incredible for his age, and so we appreciate that, and we're happy to teach him as much as we can. I think he's kind of pre-slated to be a diesel mechanic, but we're trying to sway him. No, they've both been great. Quincy, we lost Quincy to Believer Onan, but it's just some family changes, but Quincy was great too. We hope he learned and established some more work ethic with his experience.
Yeah, those are the things that I think is invaluable about, having those kids that are willing to at least do it. They had to go and they had to present a resume, they had to interview, they had to learn how to interact with, and they were very well prepared for that. So that's compliments to the district.
Is that something we're gonna offer again this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So Levi he'll stay on with us, from what I understand, throughout most of the course of the construction. There might be a little lull between our self-perform and we might kind of let him take a break for a couple months, but we'll bring, as soon as we start ramping up again, we'll come back on.
Okay.
And then next year we'll take new applicants.
Right.
Get some new kids on the ground and
Yeah, next year will be that kind of that finish up, making it all look pretty. They'll get all the reward at the end when they're get to say, yeah, I helped finish this thing. So, couple other things. So, we'll walk, and I think everybody's gonna go on the walk. So we've got slab down. You'll be able to see everything that's prepped. We're supposed to be getting slab for the A wing, which is where the 3rd through 6th classrooms will be. So you get to kind of see what happens between concrete coming on the ground and what's underneath of it. Metal studs, metal framing should start this week. We'll start at least getting materials here, so you'll all of a sudden start seeing this thing going vertical. That's when it gets kind of exciting. That's when everybody's like, all right, this is real now. Other than that, in the package, I included, we've got our kind of our budget update. We're doing really well on not finding a bunch of unknowns. We had a couple of plumbing corrections, out of the cafeteria and the K2 wing that we've had to address, that we've been able to capture those in using partial contract contingency as well as some owner contingencies, but not giant numbers where it really gets us scared that we've blown through a lot of dollars that we don't want to. So as it sits right now, in the contractor side, we've got about $340,000 of contingency remaining. We've identified a lot of those, unforeseen things underground, and now it becomes coordination as we go vertical. You might start to see, hey, there's this, framing that we have to adjust, and maybe a stud pack needs to get modified, or but we don't see a ton of big glaring risk out there. So those are going to be things that hopefully those dollars get to be put to something else other than construction, that we know there's a good list to do. And the same with the owner side, been very good. Those things identified were unknown conditions underground that the engineers couldn't have known about, that we've had to pay for. Right now, we're owner side, we're sitting at about $372,000 of contingency remaining. So very comfortable at where we sit as far as those dollars that may be needed for unforeseen or additional scopes that maybe the district decides to do. I keep thinking about the current 3-6 buildings, and what do we want to do with those? That's kind of where I start to eyeball some of that is, right, what did we say to the community we're going to do with those? How do we achieve that with maybe some of those dollars that are there? The Jackson crew and their subs have been great. We still have had 0 incidents of injuries, so we're really tracking on really a safe site, which is outstanding. We only had, I think, 1 interaction where a parent used the walking path to drive their kids down to drop off. So I think we've got that corrected, but I think that was the only one, and they were aware of it and prepared. So other than that, really the process has been pretty smooth. I think the transition with the kids has been great. I don't believe there's been any concerns or interactions that shouldn't be happening where kids are crossing paths with contracting teams. So I think you guys have done a good job preparing the students for that. We had 1 fire drill right at the start of the year. We just didn't use the exit going out into the construction site at this point for the K2. And I think that we've got a pretty good handle on emergency situations of how we get the kids out of that building around the construction. So, and today when we tour, we'll go ahead through the K2 building so we can walk out and you'll be on a concrete slab. We won't have to take you out into the dirt and the rocks. So we can start there, and then if you want to explore, we won't need, because no equipment will be running, we won't have to have hard hats or reflective gear or anything on. So it's nice that you guys are willing to do it tonight, not do it earlier, because there was equipment still running when I first got here. So
They were kind of that.
Yeah.
Walking in.
okay, perfect. So any questions, concerns from the community, from you, the board?
So are you guys, Jackson or the subcontractors, are you able to take any applications from community members that are qualified?
Yeah, so I've had, we have been using, not Reynolds, but Ed Ivanoff quite a bit.
Yeah,
And I think he's been using Reynolds to haul a little bit. So we've been using a lot of those products. We able to get his kind of local proctor approved for all of our slab and parking lot cushion. So that's been great. And then we have kind of, let's say, I think there's about 6 sticky notes of just local employees, or not employees, but local folks that have come in, just said, hey, I'd be interested in working on the site. So we do have those contacts. I've been sharing those with, maybe they might not necessarily qualify as a qualified electrician or plumber, but we've been giving those folks information to our electricians and plumbers for just like labor.
All your
work.
subs, but is Jackson itself not able to hire?
We took on the woodchucks, as you talked about, but, just with, the people we employ now, we haven't actually been hiring people this summer, as of now, so we haven't hired any folks.
Like you have a solid crew and you don't need help?
We do have a solid crew. Honestly, a lot of our specific self-perform work hasn't really taken off yet. So hopefully eventually we will have more need within the company, I guess, and we can hire some local folks, but
Cause yeah, we have many trade, and I don't know if they know that's an opportunity if there is one, but it'd be nice to
So,
do any.
and then all those folks that have stopped in at the trailer, the local folks, they also, they've been given the information they need to apply, and I think several of them have applied, with our HR department, so I gave them that information.
That might be a good thing that maybe we can add to the district website. So I send
Yeah.
in, when I send my board report in, I send in one that goes to the
Yeah.
website. Maybe we put on hey, here's how, if you're interested in either looking at this work or looking at the subs that we've got,
Yeah.
here's how to reach out to them.
Yeah, but just a link to your application
Yeah,
page or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'm willing to pull that together for sure.
Dan, or Dan can help me set it up, or.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. Other than that, I'm excited for you guys to see it. It's a big building. You get out there and you start, it's funny because it looks like it's giant and then it starts to shrink when you start putting, forms up, and then it gets bigger, all of a sudden the slab shows up, and then you start framing, it gets smaller, and then you start putting sheetrock up, and it's a weird process. And then once the skin goes on the outside, people are like, why aren't you in there yet? Because it, it feels like it's done, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to go in there. So, but yeah, if you don't have any questions, we'll get you through the rest of your meeting. We'll go do a walkabout.
Anyone have anything else?
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
Thank you.
You bet.
okay, move on to consent agenda.
I think I need to split D out. Is that right, Lonnie?
Who do we have on there?
D. You have stage
Stage.
listed.
Oh, yep, I do.
Oh.
Gosh, darn it.
Split D out and do the rest together.
Okay,
I'm keeping the rest together.
Okay.
did you guys get that? So motion to,
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda, removing item B. Okay. You can have it.
any questions? Where did all these subs come from?
I love it.
I mean, that's really good, but I'm just.
Some of them that are on the list, they're still good, so they just get re-rolled on.
Oh, okay.
It just comes in front of you guys. Some of them are very specific, so they're not necessarily subbing throughout the whole district. They might be kitchen, janitorial. Some of them are strictly secretarial. So it looks expensive, but also depending on what group you're looking at, teachers wise, still great to have more.
All in favor to accept the consent agenda with item D removed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to accept consent agenda.
I do see one typo.
Good for you.
I did see.
Bridget is Goblin with its GOP, not B.
Oh, her application had a B on it.
Oh,
I will take a better look at it. It
Okay.
looked like a B to me,
okay,
but yeah, okay. I will check on it. Thank you.
I'll motion to approve item D, hiring Terrence Sage Ketter. Paraprofessional rotating sub position.
Ron, second.
Ron second.
Ron, yeah. Any questions, comments? All in favor to approve item D of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the paraprofessional stage credit. Move on to new business. Student attendance agreement. Where this is where we need to acknowledge.
So I will motion to acknowledge the student attendance agreements. Both incoming and outgoing.
So you will acknowledge the outgoing and you will accept the incoming. So if you want to make that motion just like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will motion to acknowledge the outgoing students and accept the incoming students.
All in favor to accept the attendance agreement? Opposed? Motion carries to accept the attendance agreement, acknowledge the attendance agreement. Move on to dual enrollment, MSU Northern.
Motion to approve the dual enrollment for MSU Northern agreement. Just love that we're getting more of these and the more options out there.
So enlighten us a little bit.
So Mr. Ketter has worked with MSU Northern, and has been trying to get this going for the last couple of years, and we finally got an MOU from him, and it's something that we're gonna move forward with, where kids will be able to earn college credits under the direct supervision of Mr. Ketter. He'll run the class welding course, which is really exciting for our kids, adding trades, more and more.
So does this coincide with that one that was already offered
So,
or?
gotcha. I don't know if they're going to expand where it'll be like a welding 3 or if it'll fall under his independent study. I haven't followed up with him because we were waiting to see what you guys had going on, yay or nay.
Okay.
I would imagine it'll be more of an independent study. I know he has to meet the college demands, kind of like
Yeah.
RIT 101 does.
Yeah.
Student wise though, I don't know that we would be able to adjust all of the schedules for all of those students in one. Something to look at though. Potentially with Mr. Cordier behind the wheel, he might already have got all those kids in one setting. So,
Anyone have any more questions? All in favor to accept the dual enrollment with MSU Northern? Opposed? Motion carries to accept the dual enrollment with MSU Northern. Move on to board report.
Do you want to look at Anne and, or do you just,
if you guys want to look at Ann's and John Carr's, and then I told him I would speak for both of them. Ann's out tonight, and well, both of them are out tonight due to various reasons.
My only question was what was with the yellow highlight of the 30 students in the 4th grade?
Not prep me for the 30.
That was my only question. I was like, at first I was like, maybe that's one of our classes that we combine. I'm like, nope, 4th is still split. So I was, and like, there's other classes that bumped by 3 students. I couldn't quite figure out why that one was highlighted. So that was my only question.
And there's a color
In
coordinator.
that September,
Mhm.
that's a month isn't completely through. Does that have anything to do with it?
Would you like to say doctor?
It's not a huge deal. She can email us later or whatever. I just, there has to be some importance to it if it's highlighted.
it's exciting, there's 31 in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the gaining of 15 students since the beginning. And it's like, it's crazy. It's not just like kindergarten.
Well, if you
It's
look
all
at
the grades.
High school one too, he's got one word highlighted as well, so it might be just something in the settings. of
Yeah, it might be
computer.
weird,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because he has enrollment.
Might have been where he was sitting when I printed off.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Oh, right, the cursor. Could be.
his enrollment is highlighted in the high school one.
Carol was saying I could take questions.
Okay.
Great question.
That was all I had. I didn't know if there was something overly struggling with that.
So that's what you're gonna see when those smaller classes like bump through the high school
Yeah,
like that. It's awesome when it's a bubble class, but when it's the other way,
yeah.
it affects them.
And is the student of the month, is it displayed like in the hallway somewhere?
We'll walk by it today.
Okay, cool. I didn't even know. I was like, you didn't even call me. He's like, oh yeah.
Cell phones have changed this year. Basically, every teacher has a cubby and cell phones are not permitted in class. So we're still working on it. It's been going really well. Take that, as you can imagine, but
Like everything else.
It sounds like it's like a statewide push and even a
Yeah.
nationwide push at this point. It's not like we are the only school working on this right now, so.
in chatting with staff, they said it's like a whole new classroom. It's wild. Yeah, in a good way.
That's awesome.
More opinion.
I was reading a thing, a class did a test on it, and every time a cell phone pinged, they tallied it. And there was like thousands in one class period, just from how many notifications these students were getting, and no wonder they're such a distraction, so.
Can I ask a question, Corey? Is that K through 12, or is it just with how young
Gotcha.
kids get cell phones these days? I'm just curious.
So past practice, K6 has never had cell phones, not allowed. Any students that show up on campus K6 with a cell phone, it's checked in, not to be seen. 7, 12, a little bit different. 7 and 8, they were allowed to have them before school, after school, and at lunch. High school wise, it was classroom discretion. Then that's changed to basically they get cell phones only outside of the instructional time.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because see kids with younger and younger get cell phones these days.
PIR. Do we have teachers attending the tribal PIR?
It is not opened up yet for registration.
Okay.
The first push was 8 AM on Monday, that got bumped to Wednesday at 8 AM, and then an hour and a half ago, it got bumped to Wednesday at noon. Registration's not yet open. Kicked out an email to staff today letting them know what I knew. We got at 5:35 from Michelle Mitchell. The quote me on that time, might be a little bit plus or minus, the speakers. So we just received all of that, I forwarded it on to staff already tonight. So
We have a student from here that is presenting to teachers.
I thought they had a bunch of
Yeah.
students that were presented this year, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so just to talk about their regalia, and that's what I'm doing, regalia, and what it means and what it stands for, everything, so I thought it was a great idea for them, for the teachers to learn from the students, so.
And it's in person again.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you how much a waste of time it was when it was not in person.
So I had to laugh, last time I was blanking out that we had lights here this whole time and I actually played under them and, I'm sure you two just.
so did you get credit?
No, like the second I walked out of here, I was like, I was thinking of the Grizz, like they
Oh.
just got their lights when I was going to school there and then they had their first night game, but I remember when the junior high was built and like doing games here when we were little and like, it was just funny. I walked out and I was like thinking of all the night games I've seen here, but most of the ones I remember playing in are from other places where it was day games. So
Otherwise it was,
yeah, it was every game we had here was night game.
Yeah.
So. And I agree that that is a special thing for the community. I did talk with Trevor just about, what his aspect was on it. And, was there any links or movement with, the governor putting out all that money for the windstorm?
That was Missoula County stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if he would make an exception, just,
And I think that, so I've been contacted by multiple community members, so a lot of people are willing to donate time. Like,
sure, I figured
I have
that.
no doubt that we will have them back up, it just won't be this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it, we need to make sure that we're prepared to do it right. Bummer.
Well, if we gotta run a bake sale or something, rather than take it out of our budget, cause you guys, you're going to Seattle to figure it out.
move on to Corey.
So yeah, kind of segueing off that, light poles met their life expectancy, so they're done. we'll continue working, figure out a solution there. To echo what you said, it's a special thing to play under the lights. For some of our kids, that's a huge platform and they might not recognize it in the moment, but years later, it's something that, I mean, same thing with playing on the court, it's just something that hits deep, so.
So that's exactly what I was saying. I didn't remember playing under it, but every fond memory I have is of a child playing around out there and watching those games, so, yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, the only other thing that hasn't really been discussed, side-by-side consulting's here, and I added in some charts there. This is coming directly from Montana OPI, it's the gym's website where they hold all of our data. So that first one is the state of Montana, and this is just one snip. And I apologize, it's so small, if I started making it get way bigger, it would be different, but this is, ELA in the state of Montana, so really all areas pretty self-explanatory, red, orange, yellow, or whatever one you call that, green and blue. Then when you go down a little bit farther, so that's the state, next one is Lake County. These are, again, reading scores, and then the last one is our school. So this push that we have with the reading and really fine tuning it, we're data driven, side-by-side consulting's coming in, they're actually doing a drop-in, I believe tomorrow. It's something that we gotta sell to all stakeholders, teachers, parents, you, the board. Like, this is something we need. Our kids need to be able to read, they need to be fluent in reading. And it takes all of us, and everybody's gotta be on that same page. We're not all agreeing on the exact same things at the same time, but what my hope is that we can look at stuff like that and say, we can do better. Perfect, let's try something. Is it gonna be a magic trick that's gonna make it perfect? No, but we can do better. So we gotta keep trying, and eventually we'll find something that sticks. Try this one, hopefully it works. If not, we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll keep adding to it until we can get those to look better. Because hopefully we can all agree that's unacceptable. We gotta do better. That's one metric. With data, you can always skew stuff. That is one metric, but it is valuable for our kids to be able to have teachers in front of them that are putting in the effort to be better. Our staff showed up in June when school was out, and most of our staff showed up. Like, they got their best foot forward for our kids, so I think it's important to note that.
Anyone have any? No? Okay. Move on. Arlee Federation Teachers Update. Rena?
Oh, I have one just community member suggestion for junior high athletics, just moving forward. If we can look at maybe bringing in like a parent night, like we do a high school night, for parents that maybe have never had a student athlete before, had no idea sports started first day of school, no idea of like the physicals and things like that. And totally saw their side of it with maybe never being around that side with a student athlete before. So maybe looking at maybe adding that for next year so that they knew what was going on as much as high school parents. Maybe even doing a combined on the same night and just splitting junior high and high school or something of that sort. I thought that was a good suggestion, said I would bring that to the board.
That is good.
Yeah.
Way to know. Okay. We'll move on to approval of claims payable and report.
I'll move to approve those.
I'll second.
Anyone see anything? No? No? All in favor to approve the payroll and report?
Aye.
Vote. Motion carries to approve the payroll, claims, payroll, and reports. Next meeting, October 8th.
There is a volleyball game that evening at home, I believe.
That's what we're doing the second Tuesdays.
It is.
That is the second Tuesday,
Yeah.
literally the first Tuesday. It's like the shortest.
Monday.
Beat me down.
Yeah. I got a doctor's
First of September.
My appointment's early enough, I can try and make it though.
Our board training is on the first. or
The
the second?
first.
The first, okay.
Or turning on the person. I emailed you.
Yeah,
You got an email.
I'm bad about checking my email more
Okay.
often, so.
Can't say I didn't.
Text me and email me.
I did. I sent you an text that said, check your email.
I thought that was your,
No, I sent you the text that check, I sent you.
I remember
the
doing that, I remember seeing.
Breathe out. Breathe in.
If there's a volleyball game, are we wanting to move it somewhere if possible, or just leave it there?
I let Jake know that you prefer that he not put him on nights of board meetings. He kind of didn't realize that, so hopefully in the future he can stop doing that.
Good either way. Just a question.
Good with the 8th, yeah.
Perfect.
We'll keep it on the 8th line.
Excellent.
Move to adjourn the meeting?
No, we have to
Oh,
do
you want to do
walkthrough
the
first,
walkthrough.
because you're technically,
Oh.
we just
And
won't
it's
video
adjourning
it.
Afterwards, okay. Trying to jump the gun here.
So I don't mean to seem like I'm wearing sunglasses. These are actually my prescription. I forgot my other ones. I don't mean to make it sound like I'm